Are you ready for some more Joel Michalec Show?
I'd better not. I have what doctors call a little bit of a weight problem.
I have the irrefutable proof that the Earth is not flat. Here it is. If the Earth was flat, don't you think cats would be on the edge of it, knocking off?
A new episode every Sunday at joelmichalec.com.
The following is a Joel Michalec production. On November 13th, Felix Unger was asked to remove himself from his place of residence. That request came from his wife. She asked him to leave because he wouldn't listen to the Joel Michalec Show.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Joel Michalec Show featuring the lovely Sharen. I am Joel Michalec. Here with me across the table is...
the lovely Sharen.
The lovely Sharen.
Yay.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
All right. Welcome to quarantine, ladies and gentlemen.
Not yet.
Not yet, but we're sort of self-imposing as much as we can. Self-isolating.
Kind of. I mean, we're not holding parties or anything.
No, of course we're not holding parties.
But
we're practicing the social distancing. We're doing our part as asked by our government.
Yeah, but you and I feel like I'm stretching across the table to talk into the mic. I don't know why now. Anyway, but we always practice self-isolation, if you think about it.
Because we're not very social? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Hold on. Before we go too far into this, welcome to the program. Let's get the business of the show out of the way. You can reach us on the World Wide Web at www.jmtalk.net. Also, from that point, you can subscribe to the podcast, and I think you should. You'll need something to do, right?
Right.
What better things to do than listen to great podcasts like this one? So you can subscribe to the show, listen to us 24/7. We are on every major podcasting venue, so we're easy to find. The Joel Michalec Show featuring the lovely Sharen.
Well, but, you know, and I don't mean to cut you off during your very important business end of the show. However, you always say Joel Michalec Show, but you never spell Michalec. And if you try and look it up, Mihal, that's how you say it.
Okay, for the new folks, it's spelled Michalec.
The Joel Michalec Show.
ALEC.
Yes.
So, yes, Facebook.
I'm sorry.
Or just go to jmtalk.net and find out how to spell it.
Right.
Find us at Facebook at JM Talk, Instagram and Twitter at JM Talk Radio. So yes, what a difference a week makes.
Absolutely.
And not even a week. Like, I was thinking about this earlier today. Like, on Wednesday, I put out a 3-ish minutes with Joel Michalec.
Yeah.
And I was still very optimistic, I think, on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then Thursday, Thursday it hit us. You know, it hit us.
Yeah.
I'm on partial furlough at work, which sucks.
Yeah.
If it gets any worse, then we'll be living in a van down by the river. But
with our doggy at hand.
Yeah, our alarm situation. But
yes.
So yeah, all this in this week, things have progressed very quickly with this coronavirus pandemic.
Right.
This week.
Exactly.
And
you know, one thing I have noticed when we when we do go out and about.
Should I spray you?
No, no.
This is a bad time to have allergies, isn't it?
I know. But excuse me.
What are you doing? the people are going to turn the podcast off because they're not going to want to get sick.
I know. No, they're not going to get sick because I'm not sick. But I've noticed when we do go out and about that no one is taking precautions.
Yeah, earlier today you said, are we being germaphobes because we had gloves on?
Yeah.
Not masks because...
No need because we're not sick.
Right. But we had gloves on, so any surface that we touch, we have gloves on. And you asked that question, and I don't think so. I mean, for right now, I will take every precaution and then some if I can.
Right.
I do not want this.
I just think anybody handling money should be wearing gloves.
Right.
I mean,
and when we went to the Acme, as you say in Delco,
Acme, right?
When we were at the Acme, they were half the registered people were wearing gloves, the other half weren't.
Right.
It was very strange to me.
And here we are, patrons wearing gloves.
Right.
The only ones that were wearing gloves.
No, I saw a couple other patrons wearing gloves. I saw one couple wearing black nitride gloves.
Okay.
And I saw another guy who was wearing mechanics gloves, but nevertheless he was wearing gloves.
Yeah.
And so
I did see a couple that those wipes that every store now has.
Right.
That has carts. They have these cleaning wipes. Well, they had 2 wipes right where their hands were. That were folded over the handlebar.
Right.
That works.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I mean, whatever.
What I mean? Whatever works.
But
overall, I was just floored that this one store that I went into, granted it was a mom and pop store, but they weren't taking precautions as far as wearing gloves.
When you came back out to the car, you were
sanitizing.
I was
sanitizing everything.
And we even were carrying some disinfectant wipes with us.
Yes.
Yeah,
in the car.
So no, I don't see that as being a germaphobe. I see that as being someone who being sure does not want to get this.
Right.
And so it's hard when we do go to the supermarket. And listen, we do go get what we need and we get out and get back to the social isolation thing that we're doing.
Right.
At any minute now, the governor is probably going to put more restrictions on. I'm going to talk about that pretty soon too.
Right.
But we do what we have to. I'm going to do what I have to. Like I told you today, I'm concerned about me and even more so concerned about you.
Right.
And so I'll do whatever I have to. I keep the 6 feet distance when I'm at work.
Yeah.
I'm an IT manager, so I have gloves on. I finish a service call, pull the gloves off in the trash, another set. I have like 3 pairs in my pocket. Change the set to go to the next call.
Yeah.
So I'm not bringing what's on this desk to another desk anyway, let alone back to my desk.
Right.
And I keep my work area clean and sanitized, and I have Clorox wipes there, and I keep that all wiped down. And last week alone, we did what's called I forget what they call it at work. I want to say safety break, where everybody just stops work for 15 minutes and they wipe down everything around them.
Really?
Yeah. And so I did that twice this week without direction.
Wow.
Just to make sure the surfaces stay clean. And these are the things that we have to do.
That's actually pretty amazing for the company that you work at.
So I want to talk about martial law. Because
we are not in martial law.
That's why I want to talk about this. See, because
even if we're in, you have to stay in your house unless you're essential personnel. That's not martial law.
And that's why I want to bring this up, because you and we want to educate some people, okay? Because on Facebook, and remember, folks, please don't get your news from Facebook and YouTube. Especially now. This is the wrong time to get your news from Facebook or YouTube.
Exactly.
Okay? So, and really, the most important thing you can do right now is pay attention to your state law. Like, I check in with what Trump's team is doing, great. Right. But I'm paying more attention to my state officials because it is the states that will be mandating most of what's going on.
Right.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, first of all, for those out there that believe there's a national quarantine being planned, there's not. Pay attention.
Right.
So But if you look on Facebook, every time a governor in one of our neighboring states, because, New Jersey, New York, Maryland, Pennsylvania, every time we move they make, somebody says, here we go, martial law.
Right.
Folks, martial law is the imposition of direct military control of normal civilian functions by a government. That is martial law. Martial law is when the National Guard is in the streets making sure, like, you get arrested if you come out your door to smoke a cigarette. That's martial law.
Exactly.
Nobody is under martial law.
Right.
Okay? The most extreme we have in some areas, and that will probably become more, is shelter-in-place laws. That doesn't mean you have to stay in there. It doesn't mean you're going to get arrested to come outside and exercise or walk your dog. What they're saying is if you need to go get supplies, go get your supplies and get back home. Stay in your area. Stay away from people.
Right.
Quick history lesson, if I may.
Absolutely. I love history.
In 1918, the Spanish flu wiped out a large amount of people in the world.
Right.
Okay? And the reason it got here so fast is because this happened right after World War I. Everyone was coming home on the boats. They brought the flu home with them. Okay?
Right.
That's how it got here. I actually saw a scholar article where a scholar said, I don't understand how the Spanish flu was so bad. We didn't even have airplanes back then. Because there's no other method of travel, I guess, in 1918.
Yeah.
So anyway, quick history lesson. In New York and Philadelphia, nobody followed the advice of shelter in place and
I want to talk about Philadelphia too when you're done.
Okay. No one followed the advice of shelter in place and don't form large crowds to contain it. And Philadelphia and New York were the two worst hit metropolitans in the Spanish flu pandemic.
Do you know why Philadelphia was one of the worst? Because they hosted a parade.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the parade.
For
they had like 200,000 people at the parade.
Yeah. For the returning veterans.
The troops.
And the troops. And they ignored, the restrictions that were put in place at that time. Mm-hmm. And they were one of the hardest hit cities because of this singular parade.
Right. Exactly. So yeah. When you're being advised to shelter in place, and this is why this weekend the Delaware governor closed the beaches, because on Friday he went down to visit the beach towns and saw the beaches were crowded with people because it was nice. Yeah. It was a nice weekend.
Yeah,
beaches are crowded, and that tells him, hey, they're not listening to me.
Right.
So then he closed the beaches, but even his statement said the beaches are closed, but you can exercise. And you can walk your dogs where dogs are permitted,
right,
so long as you follow the social distancing. But as far as being open to the public, no. You know what I mean? And again, this isn't martial law. This is the governor trying to stop this from becoming worse in this state.
Exactly.
And that's what each state is doing. What the governors are doing, making these different moves, they're only doing it to help you. Yes, it sucks. Yes, it's uncertain what's going to happen. But let's look at all the different places that are stepping up. Courts are saying they won't be evicting people. Utilities are saying that they won't be shutting people off. They won't be charging late fees. We did get an interesting email from the car insurance. And they said that, for instance, if it wasn't paid, and this is not the route I want to go, but there's going to be a moratorium, I guess, a period of time where they won't cancel your policy because you couldn't pay it. I think until the 30th of April or something like that.
Okay, right.
School loans.
We're not in that category anyway because it's taken out automatically.
Right, so long as the funds are there.
Yeah,
but school loans are on hold for 60 days. The IRS has backed up tax day to July 15th. So a lot of things are being moved out of the way. Because this is hitting us so hard in so many different ways.
And people are getting laid off, furloughed, losing their jobs. But then again, there's so many other businesses that are hiring. They're hiring those who were let go, laid off, furloughed. So you can still work. It may not be your dream job.
Yeah, a lot of retailers are hiring.
But it's work. It's money coming in.
Right.
You know? So don't be embarrassed to run to the local Acme and say, hey, I was just furloughed. I was vice president of the company. But, hey, I'll stock your shelves.
Sure.
Because it's money coming in.
In the middle of the night when no one's around to be coughing on me.
Right,
Absolutely.
exactly.
I'll stock all the shelves you need stocked.
I know, but you see what I'm saying. It's just because you had a high-paying position in your regular job, when this is all done, you can go back to your high-paying position, whatever the case may be. But take the little menial jobs.
Right.
Because the jobs are there.
Right.
You know, the companies are saying, hey, we understand. We're still hiring. Amazon in our local region is hiring 150,000 more people because they know of the furloughed situation of all the other companies out there.
Right. And again, I mean, I'm partially furloughed. I never in my entire career in IT thought that, an IT position would be set that way. And it's an unusual case, I think, because I have peer groups in IT, and they're all flourishing at this time. And so it's probably industry specific, because I never would have thought that I would be partially furloughed. In what I'm doing, so it happens. So we're all dealing with something. But yeah. So when we come back, I can tell you that later on the program, in the final stretch, we have quite a bit of heroes we're honoring this week. A wombat that we're celebrating, a pair of wombats that we're celebrating. One last thing. That whole segment will be very specific to the subject matter of what's going on around us. All coronavirus-driven material coming up in the last segment.
Yes.
And as we sit here, knowing that in just moments we will embark on part 2 of this show, I could not tell you what's on it yet. It's somewhere on my laptop here, but definitely not at the forefront of my mind. While the break is going on, I will have to research. I just couldn't tell you.
Quick goat thinking.
I can't tell you, hey, this is what's coming up in the next few minutes, because it's buried by the podcast screen right now, counting the time down. But anyways, we're going to go wet our whistles and get a drink. And when we come back, more coming up and lots more later on in the third stretch. So don't go anywhere. Are you going anywhere? Don't go anywhere, right?
Well, I'm being called.
Okay. Well, you at home listening, don't go anywhere. We're coming back right on the other side of this.
This is New York's Super Oldie Station, 920 WON, The Apple, Brooklyn, New York.
The following conversation is real. It took place on Tuesday, June 8th of 2004 between a Blonde Star advisor and a subscriber.
Blonde Star emergency, this is Steve. Is there an emergency in your vehicle?
Oh my god. I've locked myself in my car and the keys are on the outside.
Ma'am,
oh my god.
Ma'am, I need you to calm down.
Okay, it's just that the windows are rolled up and I'm starting to sweat. My keys are on the outside.
Now, your keys are on the outside of the vehicle?
Yes, oh my god.
Now, does your car have automatic locks or...
Yes.
Okay, here's what I need you to do. Take hold of the inside of your door handle there. Are you doing this? The shiny thing. Grab the shiny thing.
Okay, I've got it.
Okay, now give that a tug.
Okay.
Did it open?
Yes, oh my god, thank you.
Okay, now what is that noise?
Oh, that's my door alarm.
Yeah, but that only happens if the keys are in the ignition, hon.
Oh my god. You know what?
Your keys are actually in your ignition.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my god, thank you so much, Blonde Star.
That's why we're here. Do you need anything else?
Blonde Star.
No, that's
Always
it.
on, because you're always blonde.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Joel Michalec Show, featuring the lovely Sharen Glad that you're here. Hope everyone is comfortable wherever you are at, doing whatever you're doing. Many people in self-isolation. Many people, I understand Louisiana is getting ready to do a shelter-in-place law. We have family in Louisiana, so...
Yes, we do.
We're going to see a lot more of this. So we're happy you're here. So we ran to the market.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided that tonight we're going to have pasta for dinner. And tonight being the night that we are recording this, not the night that you are listening to this.
That'd be kind of freaky
Although
if we knew what you were having for dinner.
Although you can be imaginative if you'd like. But we had decided to have pasta for dinner. And to make it nice and special, I said, you want to get some nice bread to go with that pasta?
Yeah.
And so we went over to
It's always nice to have bread with pasta.
Yeah. And we went over to the bakery and we found a half loaf of fresh baked Italian bread. And it reminded me of something that I think we may or may not have talked about before on this, but we talked amongst ourselves about.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to see that somebody is looking out for the smaller family unit. Like, we're just two of us now.
Right.
So, like a half a loaf of Italian bread is great because we'll end up wasting a lot of that Italian bread if it was a full loaf.
Yeah, exactly.
Why can't they sell a bag of 3 hamburger rolls, 4 hot dog? Well, we can still get away with the 8 hot dog rolls because you only eat 1 hot dog anyway. And I eat the other 7. But, 4 hot dog rolls. What we don't see enough of is, food packaging that caters to
smaller families.
Or just duos,
Right.
retirees, grandparents.
Yeah.
The single person.
Right.
Why not make a package with just 1 or 2 hot dog rolls in it?
Exactly.
It's a thought.
Hey, it's a thought.
And something that should be done. So it was just refreshing to see the half loaf Italian bread today. That's all I'm saying.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, but the look that you're giving me is that like I'm a lunatic.
Well,
you were the lunatic thinking they were charging full price for the half loaf, and they really weren't.
No.
But
let's not go there.
And folks, when you're at the store, and because people are still panic buying, and which reminds me, we did some research and found out why everybody bought up the toilet paper, and the most widely accepted theory is something called FOMO. Fear of missing out. In other words, like maybe you see your neighbor bought like 2 giant packs of toilet paper and you go, oh my, I don't want to not have any toilet paper. I better go buy. And it starts this chain reaction of fear of missing out.
True. That is, I think, the reason that this whole toilet paper, thing went on. Because, I can't imagine how you're going to fight the coronavirus with toilet paper. I just don't know. If someone out there knows how to fight the coronavirus with toilet paper, please let us know.
What if you wrapped your body in it before you went out all the time?
What? Then you'd be a mummy.
Yeah, well, hey. Mummies don't get sick.
Well, mummies are dead.
But unfortunately, common sense we can't get people to buy that fear of missing out.
That's true. And the whole spring water thing, everybody gotta have spring water now, or bottled water.
And so now it's being rationed by a lot of markets as to how many you can buy.
Yeah.
The same with the hand sanitizer. You'll find out later on with the Wombat of the Week how stupid people have gotten with the hand sanitizer.
Right. Now you can't find hand sanitizer. You can't find it.
And you can't find the rubbing alcohol since the recipes came out on how you make your own rubbing alcohol.
Hand sanitizer.
Yeah. This is how you make your own rubbing alcohol. Go buy some. There you are.
Right? You make it to the store.
That's right.
Then you make it to the shelf. And you make it to the register.
But you're itching to make some, and you're ready to crack out the rest of the vodka in the liquor
Well, that
cabinet.
is, they call for, the recipe calls for the strongest proof vodka that you've got. Alternating, if you don't have or want to use the vodka, you could use rubbing alcohol.
Right.
But the recipe calls for vodka.
So, also, a local story, too, as I told you this morning. Dogfish Head Craft Beer, which is a Delaware company, and it's nationally known, stopped manufacturing beer last week, and they started manufacturing hand sanitizer made with high-potent alcohol.
Yeah, that's
from the distillery, and they plan on selling it at a fair market price to the state for distribution, and then all the profits are going to go to a fund in Delaware that's helping laid off food workers, restaurant workers, in this time of not having to work. So just throwing that out there as content while we're talking about the sanitizer thing.
Right.
But so I guess you're gonna make sanitizer with vodka, right?
Well, yeah, since that's what the recipe calls for.
So if we get desperate, we could cleanse our hands and drink it.
And get drunk at the same time.
Well, I can't think of a better use for vodka because it's a liquor I just cannot stand.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
I from several sources I tried Bloody Marys because I like tomato juice.
Right.
And I have not found one that tastes good to me, and I really think the common factor is that the vodka, even though they say the best vodka has no flavor, I think the vodka is what ruins what I anticipate the flavor of a Bloody Mary is.
Right.
And so I don't understand why people like Bloody
Marys. So in your
Marys.
head, you taste the vodka when in fact you really can't.
I guess in my head I taste nothing. Where I think my expectation is I'm going to taste some V8 and some black pepper and some Worcestershire, and I don't.
Well,
it's very bland.
Right.
And I remember the one time instead of having the Bloody Mary mix, I asked the bartender. I asked them if they can get me regular tomato juice on it because I was trying to figure out why it didn't taste right, and it was equally as bad. And so I think that the vodka just...
I think it's the Worcestershire sauce.
Do you really?
I do.
I thought Worcestershire sauce would taste like delicious, salty beef juice.
No.
No?
Ew, no.
Why not?
Because Worcestershire sauce sucks. I'm just throwing that out
But
there.
they put it in stews and things. Everything,
but
everything they say to
it.
add it to, I feel like it gives it that delicious taste.
Oh, boy. Can we move on to another subject, please?
What? I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
All right, fine.
Oh, my goodness.
What do you got, then? What do you got?
Well.
What do you got?
I got nothing. So, whatever you got. Honestly, yeah, I got nothing.
So let me tell the folks listening what I have started doing a couple mornings ago.
Okay.
I take a half a lime.
Oh my god.
Sharon doesn't like this because she doesn't like limes.
It's so gross.
I take a half a lime and I put it in a hand juicer, and I squeeze the juice of a half a lime into a measuring cup. Now, let's say I get an eighth of a cup of lime juice out of that half a lime.
Ugh.
Then I take it and I mix it with a quarter cup or 2 times the amount of lime juice that I got with warm, like room temperature water. Swish it around, and I drink it in a shot.
Ew.
So why do I do that? Well, first of all, limes are good for you, and they have some health benefits. But, my assistant at work, he's a very good assistant, very good friend. He was talking about how this recipe, doing it once or twice a day, boosts the alkali in your body. And according to him, he's from El Salvador, where there's a lot of home remedy stuff. And he says that when you boost the alkali in your system, when your alkali is higher in your system, viruses cannot live in your system. Now, it could be some El Salvador thing. It could mean nothing. I don't know. But let me tell you folks something about my assistant at work. He's 63 and looks to be about 35. So
he does. He really does look very good.
I can't argue. Considering I like lime juice, I can't argue a shot of lime juice with 2 parts that of water down the gullet once or twice a day. How can I argue that? I mean,
ew.
This guy tells me that he has no gray hair and everything because he takes vitamin E every day. I started taking vitamin E hoping to reverse all of this white, and it didn't happen. That's what I'm saying. It's hard to find argument in some of the things that he recommends.
I don't knock what he recommends. I really don't. I just knock it when you do it. If it's gross, like the lime juice stuff, ew.
But he said that limes are very big it's an anti-inflammatory, but also it has antibiotic properties. Whatever.
Hey, if it works, good for you.
Exactly.
There you go.
But meanwhile, diet tea.
And since we're discussing drinks, anyone who knows me knows that I'm a sodaholic.
Yeah.
And for the past almost week, if I have a soda a day, that's a lot.
And you've been drinking more?
Water.
And what's been going on since you've been drinking more water?
I feel better.
Right.
And I can walk more, and water is an amazing property.
Water is an amazing thing. And I mean, they say that the first thing you should do in the morning is drink 8 ounces of water. They said it wakes up your system, it gets your organs going. And of course, there's a lot of, as you found out in the last week, a lot of healing properties with your muscles.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I was starting to get worried about myself. But I've noticed that I can walk my dog now, as opposed to before I would have to drive my dog. Mm-hmm. In other words, I drive and the dog's outside running alongside.
That is not how you were doing it. Stop it. You have all the anti-animal groups up our ass here.
Right. No, that I would never dream of doing something like that. But yeah, so I do feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Water. It's clear. It's free. You need it.
Well, it's not free when you have to buy bottles of water, but...
And I don't know why... Well, I know why we do it, because our water here smells like bleach.
Right.
And so, I mean, if so I use it to do laundry. And my stuff is so white. But anyway, bottled water, I'm worried because sometimes I wonder if all the bottled water that you buy in the store is just some old couple in Pittsburgh in a bathtub filling empty bottles.
Right.
And then somebody puts a new seal band on them. I don't know. Just a theory I have. Just a theory.
Yep. Just a theory.
So did you hear in the a couple entertainment pieces while we have some minutes left?
Yeah.
One, many of the movies that are being released, since movie theaters have been ordered to close, are being released on demand immediately. I mean, that makes sense because the movie companies won't lose out too much money.
Right.
But they'll still get their product out there. People are quarantined, so maybe they'll watch it. I don't know. It depends. You also got to watch that bill that will be coming in, too, if you're not working.
I know.
But so there's that. And then Marvel shut down filmmaking on some of our Marvel movies because of this. Excuse me, which makes sense because groups of people being together.
Right.
So the other thing that happened about a week or so ago, and we never got to on the show, I meant to mention is, Journey, 2 members of Journey left or were fired or something like that from the band.
Oh.
So it had a lot to do with, it was like a power struggle. Like they thought they would like kind of go and do things. But I hear her. It's okay. She'll wait. So some sort of power struggle had something to do with licensing and whatnot. But anyway, so I guess the song "Separate Ways" means a lot more now ever than it did.
Wow.
They really have gone their separate ways.
Okay.
But
and
Kenny Rogers,
yes,
passed away on Friday night of this week.
Yes. Sad news.
Yeah. So
he was 81.
The dealing is done. What? I'm just saying. I'm play on words here with songs and stuff. You had the most disgusted look on your face right now.
No, I don't. I have a smile on my face right now.
These are called plays on words.
I know.
Well, I guess that's all the entertainment news then.
Yeah.
All right, great. Bye.
Yeah, so I am actually getting ready to.
Are you going to
head off?
What are you doing?
Well, our dog needs to get fed and walked.
You're going to walk the alarm system?
I'm going to walk the alarm system.
All right, well, Sharon's out of here. I want to remind everybody that coming up on the third stretch of third stretch of the show, we're honoring a bunch of heroes this week, so stay tuned for that. And we're celebrating, I guess you can call it celebrating, 2 Wombats. Wait till you hear about these idiots. If time permits, we'll get to one last thing. All of this is relevant to what is going on right now. So, it's just been one of those kinds of shows because it's been one of those kinds of weeks.
Exactly.
So, are you going to officially say goodbye, Sharon?
I'm going to officially say goodbye, Sharen.
There you go. For everybody else, stay tuned right here. I will be back in 45 to 70 seconds.
All right.
Right after this.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Broadcasting from a crummy little studio in Baltimore, Maryland. This is Reality One Radio.
You see why we need your donations?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Joel Michalec Show featuring the lovely Sharen. Sharen has exited the studio, so to speak, taking care of other things. Welcome back to the third part of the show, the last stretch, the final stretch, the whatever you want to call it, stretch. And we're glad you're sticking with us in this quarantine version of the show. During this process of the last part, we still cover the same things. We'll do a new Wombat of the Week here in a second. Plus, we'll honor a new hero. Actually, this week we'll honor a whole lot of heroes in one shot. And if time permits, and I hope it does, and I think it will, we'll have time for one last thing, which is just a piece of knowledge on the way out the door, so to speak. If you're new to the podcast, we'll let you know how to get involved with future Wombats of the Week and even honor thy heroes. So we'll give you details on that as we go. And otherwise, we'll move right into this week's Wombat of the Week. Now, how can you hang out with us and get us information for Wombat of the Week? It's very, very easy. Wombat of the Week is simply stupid people doing stupid things and it showing up in the news. So if you find somebody being an idiot and it's in the news, you can send us a link to that news story to joelmichalecradio@gmail.com, or you can send it through social media at Facebook at JM Talk, or Twitter at JM Talk Radio. I was going to say Instagram, but I don't think Instagram does PMs or DMs or AMs or PMs. I don't know what they call them, but definitely Facebook and Twitter allows for DMs, or you can just email it to us at the email address, and then you can send that link in, and somewhere along the line it will get in the line most likely, and it will get onto the program. So what we want to talk about this week as far as Wombats, just keeping up with the theme of what's going on out there. There's a story from it may be a little more than a week ago, but certainly very relevant, and it's about these two brothers from Tennessee who say that they tried to capitalize on the coronavirus outbreak by buying nearly 18,000 bottles of hand sanitizer. So the lovely Sharon's wondering why she can't find hand sanitizer. Maybe this is why. They now claim they have nowhere to sell the products after a crackdown on online price gouging. So after the first COVID-19 related death in the U.S. was announced, 36-year-old Noah Colvin and his brother Matt cleared out hand sanitizer from stores around Chattanooga, Tennessee, and parts of Kentucky. Their intention was to sell the goods on Amazon at marked up prices. They sold the sanitizer for between $8 and $70 each, multiple times higher than what they paid for the product at local stores. The brothers declined to disclose their exact profits, saying only that it was substantial. Despite backlash and accusations of profiteering, Noah Colvin defended his methods to the New York Times, saying there was a crushing, overwhelming demand in areas not carrying the products. And he said, I honestly feel like it's a public service. I'm being paid for my public service. But Amazon, along with other online platforms, including eBay and Walmart, shut down sellers such as the Colvin brothers, who were found to be price gouging. So according to Amazon, in a statement, they said, listen, price gouging is a clear violation of our policies, unethical, and in some areas illegal, which is true. And in many more areas now, as a side note, because of this coronavirus outbreak. So now, somewhere around 17,700 bottles of hand sanitizer have been sitting in Noah Colvin's garage with no place to sell them. And after they made headlines, the brothers reported that investigators with the Tennessee Attorney General's office ordered the Colvins to end profiteering strategies. The state, which has laws against price gouging, was investigating. Noah Colvin told local television news that the backlash, he's now looking into ways to donate the supplies. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is called karma. Because now he's forced to donate the supplies, and now he'll go from making a substantial, as he says, quote unquote, profit to hopefully a loss. That's called karma. And I had no problem with the decision this week of making this the Wombat of the Week, the both of these guys, because I have no love or anything for people that do this to harm other people. And that's what they were doing. They were not meeting a demand. Here in the state of Delaware, one of the things in the initial state of emergency was that price gouging was illegal. So in the state of Delaware, if you feel that something you're buying from a licensed retailer is price gouged, you have every right to contact the state and let them know that. And they will look into that and they will deal with that. That's part of the state of emergency here. And that's why I said in many more places than maybe usual, it is illegal right now because of this pandemic. So so they are the recipients of. So we need 2 crowns for these 2 morons who are the Wombats of the Week. And I am happy, very happy, that they are donating 17,700 bottles of hand sanitizer. And nobody should give them any accreditation for that, and no thank yous or nothing. They're Wombats. They should. It's in all fairness that for what they did, that they should have to donate it. And I'm sure if you had 18,000, you sold 300, you were making a substantial profit. 17,700 bottles of hand sanitizer. I think you're going to turn that right around into the negative and be out that money. And folks, this is not a time to be out money. So there they are, the Colvin brothers from Tennessee. You are the Wombats of the week this week on the Joel Michalec Show, featuring the lovely Sharen. Now we move on to Honor Thy Heroes, and we have a lot of heroes to honor, okay, in two different stories. But first of all, again, Honor Thy Heroes is our way of making sure that people who do extraordinary things for other people are recognized. And it doesn't always have to be somebody with a badge or a cape or a doctor's bag or whatever like that. It can be anybody. And so what I ask every week, and I'll continue to ask every week, is that if you have a local paper and somebody who fits that profile is being celebrated or pointed out or written about in the local paper, get that link to us. Get that link to us, because we're just looking for everyday people who walk among us doing exceptional things. And so you can send it through the same outlets, either at Facebook at JM Talk or joelmichalecradio@gmail.com. I'm going to sip my coffee. And listeners from certain parts of the states know that when I say this is Wawa coffee, you know it's good coffee. So you can send those stories to us through the same outlets, and please do so. So let's talk about the heroes for this week. First and foremost, I think it behooves us to not recognize all the people that are still on the front lines of this pandemic. First of all, medical professionals, your paramedics, your police officers, your firefighters, your first responders, all these people that are out there, doctors and nurses and everybody who works every stage in all the hospitals on the front line doing this stuff. Okay, I think it's important to point that out. All the testing that's going on, the hospitalizations, all those things, and these people are still at work. And they're still at work. A lot of people are not at work. They still have to go. And you cannot get any closer to the front line than dealing with the people coming into these facilities who are sick, with or without the coronavirus. And how much additional they need to go through to make sure that they're safe, not only to continue to service the people who are sick, but they have to stay safe for their families. They still go home to their families. And, so I think a big shout out needs to go to them for what they're doing. And then you have a lot of the people who still, the essential employees, in lockdown areas or whatnot, quarantined or shelter in place. Then you have the people that still have to go out and work, and they're going out and they're dealing with the public. A lot of retailers, our daughter, both our daughters are in retail, and they're still out there because their retail establishments are still open. So again, here's the other segment of heroes that are out there, taking all the risk to be out there, which is why it's even more so important that if you don't need to be out there, or if you need to, go out, get what you need, and get out of there. Go back to self-quarantine and shelter in place and things like that. And so that's the other side of the heroes. So all these people that are still out there in the face of society, doing that, they're all on the front lines. Somewhere along the front line of this battle is where all these soldiers are, one facet or another. And because of that, they're all heroes. We honor all of them. We had to run out and get some groceries last night. We had to go out and get a couple things today. We go out, we get what we need, we get home. And that's how you can help honor these heroes. Get what you need and get out of their proximity. Go home. So we honor all of them. That's our first batch of heroes, is all these people that are working the front lines. We thank you. We honor you this week. You are the heroes. Now, I said there's two. I have another hero that I want to talk about. And, again, keeping up with the theme of current events of what's going on, we want to talk about a 7-year-old boy in the news. Amid the coronavirus pandemic, a first grader in Gaithersburg, Maryland, right next door to us, so to speak, used money he saved up to help those in need as a way to overcome fear with acts of love. Kavanaugh Bell, age 7, spent $600 of his own allowance money, saved up from 2 birthdays and 3 Christmases, to purchase and package 65 COVID-19 care packs along with 31 hot meals from a local restaurant to serve senior citizens and help local businesses impacted by being closed after Governor Larry Hogan shut the restaurants down last Monday. So he takes a video. Somebody's taking a video of him. He's shopping in Target, and he's thanking everybody for the donations, and he's showing them the stuff that he got, and he makes these packages for other people. And, on top of all that, then he helps to feed 90 students in need last Thursday. This 17-year-old started a nonprofit called Cool and Dope with the mission to eradicate all bullying and youth suicide through political and social action by his 18th birthday, which is November 20th, 2030. So he became a philanthropist and anti-bullying activist after just 5 years old. So look what he's done in such a short amount of time. So he's put together these packs of small bottles of Clorox and groceries and gloves and things that people would need. And he delivered them to senior citizens. Helps feed school children. Gets 31 hot meals together and delivered to senior citizens. He's 7 years old. If there's anybody that we could take a page out of somebody's book, it would be Kavanaugh Bell. So, the fact is, karma will pay him tenfold for what he's doing. This is amazing stuff that he's doing. And because of that, our youngest, I believe, ever crowned hero on Honor Thy Heroes is 7-year-old Kavanaugh Bell. You are a hero. And not just this week because you're doing these things. Apparently you've been a hero for a couple of years. The fact of what you're doing from the age of 5 in the last 2 years is you're moving mountains. And so you get the bragging rights of being a hero on the shows Honor Thy Heroes. So thank you very much for what everybody mentioned today is doing for their communities. So make sure you get your stories in of heroes, extraordinary people just doing extraordinary things for their fellow man. That moves us into one last thing. And I wanted to, before we get out of here, drop this topic. Because of coronavirus, you have to beware of the scams. I know a lot of the one last things are directed at scams, but that's because the lovely Sharen and I care about you, and we want you to know any information that would help you. And when I tell you that these malicious eggheads are, yes, capitalizing on, in my lifetime, the absolute worst thing that I've seen going on in society. They want your money. They want the last little bit of money you have. And they're doing it through phone calls, texts, and emails, verifying this so-called government money you're going to get. First of all, there's discussion and there's some debate going on as to whether the government can do something like that. Okay, so as long as you're not following Facebook news or YouTube news, you would know that. They're working on a possible thing. There is no definite. And so anybody who texts you, calls you, emails you, faxes you to verify your government check amid the coronavirus pandemic is lying through their teeth. And they're trying to get your identity so they can take the very last penny out of your bank account. I can't put that any stronger. Do not respond to any type of communication you get regarding your coronavirus government stimulus check. I mean, you've got to check the right sources so you know what's going on. So then you know that this is a scam. Because the last thing that we want to see is people scammed out of their money. I mean, I know I may have mentioned this before. If not, I know I did it in my inner circle of IT people. But think about that. We're at our lowest point. People are on partial or full layoff or permanent layoff. People are looking for work. This is insane. And yet, there is a percentage of people who are so ignorant and rude and heartless pond scum that they are concocting ways to use this to take from you and I. Think about that for a minute. That is terrible. That is terrible. And in my mind, I wish them all very bad things that I won't say out loud. Because I'm frightened that we have to breathe the same air as these types of people that do this. But these types of people do this, and that's what they do. And all I can do is try to warn you, if we can. So please be aware of that. Pay attention to actual news so you know exactly what is really going on regarding this pandemic. That's going to bring us to the crash and halt of the show today, this week. Remember, this time more than ever, I mean all the time, but more than ever, be kind to one another when you are out there. Be kind to one another. That's what we need right now, is some kindness. Keep your 6 foot distance. Wash your hands. Keep your hands away from your face. All those things. All those things we need you to do. The lovely Sharen and I would like to see you here each and every week. So let's do what we have to do to get through this problem. So be good to each other. And remember to stop by the website, jmtalk.net. Subscribe to the program. We're on all major podcasting platforms. And you can also join us at Facebook at JM Talk, Instagram and Twitter, JM Talk Radio. And we are looking forward to seeing you again next week and maybe in happier times. Goodbye, everybody.